that really pulled my strength down. It demotivated me, and I took a career break because I wanted to take, and it's for my son. I can probably prove what a mother is capable of because there's a rule in Dilma that you have to reply emails in 24 hours, despite how intense the problem is. Purpose-driven business starts from inside of your business, how you treat people, and they become your brand ambassadors, and they go and speak about your business outside.
We have to implement also in our business life.
So much like, yes, I'm a mom, we did it, you've achieved your vision.
Hi, welcome to another episode of the Founders Podcast. This week, we're talking to Shivani Thiron, who is the founder of Miris by Island Mom. Shivani, for that, spicy hot sauce. Everyone's familiar with it, but it's made out of Sri Lankan chilies and something which my husband loves. And we always look for your stall at the Good Market when we do come. So, big fan for many years. And so I thought this is a good opportunity to talk to you about your story and how you got started. So, just for an introduction for our viewers, can you tell us a brief overview of what you do and about yourself and how you got started?
Yeah. So, hi, I'm Shivani. I'm founder of Miris by Island Mom. So, Shivani is a person who is very timid, who is more introvert. She's not a person to be speaking like this in a podcast, but it all changed when I became a so-called mom entrepreneur. I'm proud to call myself a mom entrepreneur because that's why it all started. So I come from marketing and exports background with a career experience of over 7 years. I have worked for 2 FMCG brands and 1 cosmetic brand. So that's where I all gained all my experience from. Actually, I took a career break when I had my first born, my elder son. And that was in 2017 to 2018. So when I want to return back to work, I think I almost applied for 70 jobs, but not a single company was interested to even know why I even took a career break. So that really pulled my strength down. It demotivated me, and it doesn't matter what her situation is like, especially if it's a mother. It doesn't mean that a mother is incompetent after she becomes a mother, or her role changes, or her commitment changes. It doesn't matter. She's always in power with the competence that she needs to support the industry or the corporate. So it really made it pulled my strength down. I never thought I will ever be able to not join back in corporates or work back because I was quite competent with all this experience that I've gained. I don't want to just sit at home and, I took a career break because I wanted to take, and it's for my son. So it challenged my perseverance, my strength, my confidence especially. So, but then I gave up. I completely gave up working for corporates, and I decided I'm going to start something on my own, which I even ever thought in my life. I never had an idea about starting a business on my own. But then I decided that's the only way that I can probably prove what a mother is capable of, because that's my own business. It's my own opportunity that I'm going to show the world what a mother is capable of. So I decided I'm going to take that as an opportunity and start. So I started quite a lot of businesses, to be honest. I ended up with baking, and while working on the baking part, I had this chilies on the code during COVID lockdown. I had this farmer who'd been selling his chilies directly door to door. So randomly on a random day, I saw this bag full of Naimir's chilies. I was super excited to see red, fresh chilies, because at the time chili was such a shortage. You couldn't even find a chili powder, even not a green chilies. Yeah. So when I saw it, I quickly grabbed, and I shared this with my few friends, and they told me to make something like a hot sauce that you can preserve and use it, so that I can use it for a longer time. And they even wanted something, if I could ever make a hot sauce, they wanted a jar as well. So I decided to browse, learn, research about what this hot sauce is, because Sri Lanka didn't have a category in the supermarkets called hot sauce. It was just chili sauce, ketchups, and chili condiments probably. So knowing that, learning that, I came up with my own recipe and did this few jars for myself and for my friends who wanted a jar. And no sooner the lockdown was lifted, I think first week of June, I gave this jar to my friend. So he tasted and he was like, he's my ex-colleague. So he tasted and he has probably met with his friends also during that 1 week break. And he came back to me with an order for 10 jars. And I said, okay, I mean, I was not ready for this. This is just because I did it as a favor. I'm not going to do this for you in return as a business, in return as how I can earn money back on this. It's just a favor that I did. But then he said it tastes really nice. It's yum and it's more delicious and it's very authentic. So why don't you not try this out? Then I said, okay, let me try it. And that's how it all started. To be honest, I still have my very first jar that I made, where I have like done it. I couldn't bring it down. I have like written the label by hand and I pasted it on the jars just because I didn't have an opportunity to print or design labels. But that's where it all started. And from the time I started to date, it's been 5 years working for something meaningful, something purpose driven, while also supporting my family on the other hand. So that's how it has all started. The journey, actually.
Yeah, I mean, your story has a couple of things to unpack there. I read on your website also about the 70 plus job rejections. I was like, wow, that's crazy. Why wouldn't, somebody want you because you just had a baby? It's literally natural. And, but you also saw that as an opportunity, right? So in a sense, you have now grown to be bigger than what a corporate role would have offered you in the first place. Now you're doing finance on your own, your marketing, everything. One woman show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Could you tell us?
Proud to say that.
Yeah, but could you tell us, you have grown in a much more organized way than, I guess, several women who start their businesses, maybe in the food making business. If I'm not mistaken, for example, you've got your safety health certifications, you've done your auditing. It's very much like I read in your website that you want your chilies to become the next export product like our tea and spices. And I was thinking, wow, that's a big vision for you.
Yeah.
How did you get to that place? Like, was the corporate background helpful, or what makes you so different?
Yeah, definitely. Corporate background is one because like I told, I work for two food and beverage brands. It's actually mostly food. So it's more the two of the companies that I worked are spices. So also export worthy spices. So one is tea, one is coconut oil. So both has a predominant industry, the main industries in Sri Lanka. So when I started Miris, I always thought to myself, when people say Sri Lanka, they only remember about Ceylon tea, rubber, coconut oil, whatsoever. But there is we call ourselves a spice loving country, but we don't really express that out as a brand. Of course, there are a lot of spice brands in Sri Lanka long back, maybe with a history of 40, 50 years. They're also known to be big brands, but under hot sauce, under the hot sauce category, I didn't find a single brand that is ready to take that position, or probably to stage Sri Lanka there in line with Ceylon tea, coconut, rubber. So we have been known, we proudly been known for a country who loves spice, but we still haven't named or probably staged our country to that point. I think recently Ceylon cinnamon got its accreditation, but I still wanted to make it Ceylon chilies, or maybe Miris chilies or Scotch bonnet chilies. So more than me selling the hot sauce, I'm very fond about talking about the chilies, because that's where the product is from. The main the original, the primary ingredient is the chili that brings that flavor, the aroma, the all hype about the hot sauce is just from the chili. So I think the chili needs more spotlight probably in the global stage, because Sri Lankan Scotch bonnets are very unique. It's really spicy. People really underestimate that Sri Lankan Scotch bonnets are, comparatively to the global other countries, they consider it less spicy, but actually Sri Lankan Scotch bonnets are more spicier than what you find it in other countries. So they itself have its own story to talk. The chili itself has its own personality. So I think it's corporate plus how I evolved throughout this journey of becoming that person. The business itself has taught me a lot, while also corporate has added a lot more, to be honest. I'm proud to say I worked at Dilmah. That was my last job. So, working under a chairman, Mr. Merrill J. Fernando, I have never gone short of any experience from the worst to the best. I have learned everything possible under one roof, and learning how to build a family business is also another side of building a legendary, learning under legend like him. It's something that add value to my business as well. How to manage work and life plus your family. So apart from that, I think the primary skill I learned from the workplaces I worked before was especially to do costing and budgeting, because that two of those things really helped me to construct my business from the beginning stage. From the time itself I started Miris, the costing especially. A lot of us, we fail in pricing, costing, because that I have personally handled it under the supervision of finance, but still I was handling it for my customers when I was at Dilma. So that really helped me to know where should Miris be, or what kind of pricing should be, the costing, managing the cost. And apart from that, I think branding, marketing, building the brand. I think Dilma inspired me a lot in terms of building that brand. Especially when they make so I was working under food service. So food is like a big predominant part in Dilma. So they create food out of tea, using tea. So that's one inspiration that made me to think a lot for Miris as well. And apart from that, I think the professionalism, the communication, lot of customers up until to date, they say that, they personally tell, most of the businesses, they treat customers just as another medium or probably a source to sell a product, but we treat them as a part of our family, part of this whole arena that I'm building. So they still respect the fact that, that's why they're also with Miris. They love the fact that how we treat our customers. That's all been learned, from Mr. Merrill J. Fernando, because I remember there's a rule in Dilma that you have to reply emails in 24 hours, despite how intense the problem is. So that's something I learned, but at the time I considered it being a bit of a tough rule or a policy to follow, because working with a lot of departments, finding an answer for that problem was obviously a tough thing. But when I implemented that for Miris, I found that being the most, reliable or probably the credible part of business, because people loved response immediately, rather you putting it out for a week or two to respond or get back to them. They like the customers, they like the fact we are following up with them, they're talking to them, they are responding to their inquiries and problems and, complaints. So that really built the credible part of business. They trusted Miris because there's someone who is behind this business, ready to answer our questions. So that credibility also, I think, matters, which I learned it from Mr. Merrill J. Fernando. I'm really thankful to him today, because most of the values, even, considering business, not just as a money-making machine, but also a purpose-driven business where you can support not just the internal people, but also the external people. We have not done anything much about external, but internally, I have ensured that I will, take care of my staff, especially because I think purpose-driven business starts from inside of your business, how you treat people, and they become your brand ambassadors, and they go and speak about your business outside. So it all starts from inside. I'm still a small business. So I have worked with few NGOs outside, but I first wanted to build the core part of Miris here. And all that I learned from, Dilma itself, I can proudly say, and plus the structures, whether you're running your single woman show or you maybe having a big team. I'm running literally a single woman show, even though I have like 2-3 members working for me. We have a core team of 4 people, but still I consider myself a single woman show because it's been the routine so far. But all that structure, how to put it all in place, has helped me a lot to build that kind of culture this organization or this business requires from the beginning. So all I think what I've learned from Dilma, predominantly from Dilma, has helped me to build this business to this point.
I think one thing what Rushma and I was also discussing about actually taking the time to understand what your business is, right? Not just starting to make something, because a lot of people make products, but like what you explained was you took the time to understand what your business is going to be like.
Yeah.
Or like even and putting the effort to fine tune the little details that make the thing work smoothly.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
that's just really important and something that a lot of women entrepreneurs, I think, can learn, because
Yeah,
sometimes it's like helter skelter. They're just running around like headless chicken, figuring things out on the way, right? So
yeah,
planning is something I think we're good at, but we have to implement also in our business life. Rushma,
yeah,
would you like to also add here?
Shivani, well done. It's so fantastic to hear you speak, and you exude so much like, yes, I'm a mom. We did it. You've achieved your vision
yeah,
5 years running, and you're going for product test. So, which
yeah,
means woohoo. Okay.
yeah,
Island mom. And it's a twofold thing.
yeah. Thank you so much.
It started off from you looking at it as like, you know what? We need to break this glass ceiling.
Yeah,
We need to totally break this, right? And the second thing was you wanted to introduce something on a global scale about the country you're from. So you had
yeah,
two things there, right? Which is fantastic.
yeah,
But they're massive.
yeah.
It's
They're massive. Yeah,
scary to, break through that, get all of these going. You've been beaten down with 70 rejections. How, Shivani, what did you learn through this process about resilience? What is it that helped you keep going and being like, well, I took on two big tasks, but you know what? I'm going to follow through because it's tough. It
yeah.
is.
It
I'm
is.
telling Zara, I don't have kids, okay? But I'm telling Zara, I'm so tired with work at home and this and the dogs and blah, 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 the clinic. And then, some days I have really, really tough days where I'm just like, could I
Yeah,
be doing this clinic? And now you've taken this global issue that needs to be addressed about
yeah.
arms and capability, right? How did you set about that? What helped you during this process?
I I don't know. It eventually happened to be. I think I resilience is like I told you, I started saying Shivani is not. She's a timid. She's an introvert. She never been known for resilience. I don't think my mother knows me in and out. My husband knows me. I quickly melt down. I have my emotions coming up. Covering myself. My eyes. So it's because every single day when I wake up, I mean, my first thing is to pray in the morning. So, first thing I always say is to myself, why am I mean, there are days that I won't even give up. I mean, that eventually be in every business, every woman entrepreneur, they want to give up because they can't, they won't, don't want, because, and especially in this category, when I started Miris, it was the only brand and there's no brands. I was very happy. But by the time when time kept going, I see a lot of brands, businesses coming up. But up to date, I can not that I'm proud to say, but I can confidently say that, Miris is 100% natural product and it has a shelf life of 15 months, even though I have declared it saying 12 months on social media, but it actually has 15 months. It's been approved by ITI. So even they even can't fathom the fact that how could this be without any preservatives? How can you build a product for 15 months? And furthermore, each product has its own story to talk. Each has its own ingredient, its personality. So all this comes to me in the morning, first thing. Okay, Shivani, you did this because you want to do something like this.
Your reminder of you wake up in the morning and start to notice that every single one of your products has a story, and you were tying this into like how the resilience has helped, like what helped you be resilient. Sounds like you were adherent to a ritual. You pray, you have your reminder why I started, the roots. You got to unmute yourself.
So I like I told you, like each product has its own story to talk. So everything that reminds me in the morning is that these products need, it's not just a product, it has its life. It has a story connected to this. It's not just my story. It's also the stories of other women who are part of this business who are supporting me. So I wanted to ensure that this story gets heard louder. And I thought maybe that platform would be this brand. It's not just to, not for to earn profit or money, but also I wanted to ensure to probably ascertain that Like I told you, I want to tell the world. It's now so far I've only told not for the people who I know locally about what this brand is and how it's been journey been, but I wanted to ensure that this story is also being heard around the world. And especially this particular industry globally is dominated by men. So being a woman and also from Sri Lanka, of course, and creating this story from a woman's point of view, a mother's point of view, is going to be quite different. It's going to be definitely different. So I thought maybe this is where I am. This is why my journey is. And this is what I'm doing these days, and I cannot give up. And that's one reason that I have so many reasons to sell. I even decided to even sell this business. I don't want to do this anymore. But the challenges are so immense, and the people, I don't want to underestimate other brands and other products similar to us. Problem is that those brands also include all sorts of other preservatives and chemicals and water. And people, whenever they try that product and when they come to Miris, they think even that our Miris is also similar to that. But to be honest, it's more authentic than what you find on shelf. So competing with those products, it actually dilute the total concept that I'm building. People really underestimate Miris by even tasting some other random brands that's on shelf. But again, if you go and read all those ingredients, you will find they have even put chili powder onto a hot sauce. It breaks my heart to read all that. The chili powder to green chilies or some other chili, something. Oh my God, I can't fathom all read, because being that first mover, creating a brand like this, creating a product from my own, in my own kitchen with my own abilities, seeing people misusing that industry, it also pulls me down, because all those that I have built on, like probably the effort that I've put it's going in vain, because I, being a small brand, even though I have a bigger vision, definitely I will achieve it one day. But being a small brand, I'm unable to speak to the entire audience here in the local market. So giving with little effort I can, I'm talking through the social media platforms to whatever this kind of podcast, I'm able to create that awareness about what authentic hot sauce would taste like. So I have actually a bigger mission to complete. It's not just the business, the brand that I want to do, it's beyond that. So that reminds me in the morning, that climbs me into my mind. Shivani, you have a bigger role to actually play in this particular industry, even though it's challenging among men, even though it's challenging among your competitors. It's still a bigger role to be played. And definitely, I think Dilma was never a brand when they started in Australia. It was a B2B brand at the time when they started in Australia, and eventually they built a brand, and that became so popular these days. So I always remind myself, how Chairman started and how it evolved to be a brand. So it took some time. Brands doesn't come, or it doesn't be built overnight. It takes a long time. With little, but ensuring every consistent step, you can still build that purpose-driven business one day, very soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shivani. And I know you said that you don't want to be a bit proud, but it's okay to be proud if you got your 15-month shelf life. Well done without the preservatives. Of course, it's a proud. Shivani, you've shared so many nuggets of wisdom, and through your experiences, that anybody watching this is going to be able to notice, like, oh yeah, these are the things that I need to look at, right? One of the questions that I did have for you that stood out to me was, can you talk a little bit about how you said the pricing structure and the finance, and how you figured that? What would be a tip, or what would you advise startups when they're trying to land on some sort of price? Figure that out. It doesn't have to be long and elaborate, just anything that I don't want to take too much of your time. So go ahead. You think would be like a really important one to look at?
So at the time when I started Miris, from the inception period, actually, I like I told you, I was baking. So I all that money that I earned from baking, I utilized or I injected all that to Miris. So when I injected to Miris, I don't want to overspend on certain things, even though I had the opportunity. There's one thing that I still learned, that I should not overspend. I need to analyze and assess that particular cost before spending on it. Even my finance persons, the lady who helps me, Swati, she's just beyond. She's super perfect. So she taught me how to manage your costs, especially to have like every day the expenses to be written down. To analyze what you have spent on, what you can be. I have really overspent on certain things. That's there, especially when it comes to branding. I don't want to go easily go for I don't want to settle for little things. So that she also always strict on me. But other than that, on the spending part, I think you need to be a little more wiser on what you're spending, because all that I was before, but when it comes to branding, I was not. So she taught me how to analyze all that little things that you can. And plus costing, of course. I don't know how to explain it, because it's so much of number driven thing. I don't know how to put it into words. But I think one thing I ensured was I maintained at the time, not now, at the time, I maintained prices every weekly, because it's agri-based product. It's a product that is related to the nature, to the vegetables, to the fruits. So I have to have a track of the prices, the price fluctuation. So I ensure that every week I have a record of those prices, and whenever when there is a price decrease, I quickly go and purchase a bulk quantity and I keep it from. And that really helped me. Even to date, it's helping me a lot to find that. So you have to just call your suppliers, and I understand what the price these days. So the weekly prices, get to know your products in detail, the price structures, how it all works, and especially on the margins. I think that's one thing also I learned at the time. Since we are small businesses, we tend to think, okay, we should not be charging more, we should not be having a big margin. But it's not for us. Eventually, when you want to get into a retail, that's where I've learned my lesson at point. For the first 3 years, I couldn't get into any retailers because I didn't have sufficient margin. But then I have to put that into my mind. It's not just for me. There are a lot of chains, or probably the people involved in this business, to get the product to the end customer. So you have to have those particular margins inbuilt into your pricing. That took me 3 years to understand and, grasp that in my mind, because I don't want to overcharge my customers. I was such an idiot, to be honest. I'm like, I don't want to charge my customers too much. I don't want to, create that, bad impression about my product being overcharged, because it was a new product and people didn't know what hot sauce was. So I don't want to overcharge and prevent an opportunity for a customer to try. But eventually I came to know, no, that won't work. We cannot be sitting in one place. Online marketing, e-commerce was good for COVID time, but it all changed when COVID stopped. People really started purchasing from outlets. They stopped purchasing from websites, because they still buy. But what I'm saying is, like, the purchase actually dropped compared to that because of the cost factor. So you have to be mindful of how you have to change, how you have to adapt. Even though I started Miris as an e-commerce brand or an online brand, it eventually changed to be a retail brand now, completely running on retail. So it all changed. I think we need to adapt to all that change and come to that point where it's convenient for customers, when not just being standing to your feet saying, okay, this is my business, this is my policy, this is my model. But no, it all changed eventually. So I have to move to retailers to reach out to them. So then you need that margin, So margin sacrifice is important. You have to ensure that margins are inbuilt into that. Yeah, so those are little things I think for now I could only remember, but I can share also. Yeah.
No, thank you so much, Shivani. That was very informative. This ties into the next question.
Yeah.
Education, professional education with, startup, like when you have a startup and then you join programs for startups that help
Yeah.
you educate you on, how to do this pricing. Maybe how you're maintaining your accounts or taxation.
Yeah,
How do
definitely.
those ones help you if you attended any of those programs? How do you think it has helped you, and how do you think it can help others as well in expansion and moving from a seed stage to a startup to, the rest of the stages of your business? Why your
Yeah. So it all started with Hatch, I think. Like I told you, I was doing baking at the time. I was not too very serious about Miris. It was just as my baking was the primary and Miris was a side hustle for me. And it all changed when I joined Hatch Kick-Ass program, where I came to know, there is much more things you can do through Miris. There's so much you can do. I know that I had a purpose through Miris. I need to meet all those purpose. Like I told you, my vision was so big, but I eventually came to know you cannot achieve that bigger vision with being for a business which is a side hustle. So Hatch really brought me out from that, and the program actually brought me out from that mindset about running a side hustle business, because that doesn't work. That doesn't work unless you're fully into that. Maybe I'm not, it doesn't work for me. I think not for many, but there are people who are handling more than 3 to 4 businesses. But for me, I'm more concentrated because my vision is so huge. So I wanted to focus on one particular area, which I really love, food and beverage. So apart from after the CAS program, I think I joined Accelerator, and that just changed the coin upside down. It changed everything. It challenged my inner core. It challenged my finance. It challenged everything. I was completely blown away by the support given by the Accelerator program. Not that I can remember everything, but I really understood the strategy part, where strategy becomes the core part of your business, which I didn't have at the time, even though I had like a bigger vision. I don't know how to even achieve it. So to achieve that, where the strategy actually came into the business, where these are the things that I have to be doing, these things I have to cut down, especially the cost part. So, and the integration of the backward and the forward integration, the suppliers, the stakeholders of the business. So all these are like little things to the harder ones, everything I learned through Accelerator program. And then we were able to also secure an investment, and that helped me to grow Miris to this point, at least, to be honest. Like where it was, we were able to only manufacture, I think, around 500 units for a month, and now we can almost go up to 30,000 annually, 30,000 to 50,000 units for a year. So all could be able to, this was possible only through that investment that I could secure after the Accelerator program. Of course, it was a challenging thing. I didn't initially get ready for an investment, but eventually it all happened because I realized, for a business like this with a bigger vision, it's not possible to run or probably to compete or run in a pace that you can with the limited resources. So then I realized, I need an investment for this business. So that's why I got into that place of getting an investment. So from Kick-Ass to Accelerator, then an investment. Apart from Hatch, there are other programs also which I like to highlight it here, especially through EDB. I'm also part of EDB Women-Led program. That's also one good thing that you to be part of, because Hatch is more private. It's a private institution, but you need to also be part of a government institution which does programs, because their way, how they assess brands, how they assess products, it's completely different. How they work with small businesses is different. The training they give is different, and they have a bigger arm and a reach where you can learn a lot also. And so EDB is one program, EDB Women-Led program, and also programs done by embassies, grant programs. So these are some programs that you can, especially through embassies. I think embassies, they run a lot of good programs, but I'm not interested in getting into all the programs because it also consumes a lot of time and your energy. And when you're running a business on your own, they probably might be another advantage, but on the other hand, it might take a lot of time of yours. So unless you need to evaluate all these programs, whether what's the ROI from that program, and then you can get into that program thinking of the viability, the possibility, and the ROI of that program. So that's something I learned. It's also been taught by one of the investors who I met after the accelerator program. He told me that don't get into all these programs. Too many programs will spoil your brand, your business, your purpose, because you'll be too focused about getting that money, getting the grant, doing that pitch, preparing for that session, but not your business. That really stuck my mind. I then stopped going for all the programs. I select the programs that are quite useful, that will add value to the business and doesn't also take much of my time. So I'm very particular about that. So these are some programs that you can probably explore.
Thank you, Shivani. That was so informative. So to understand, you have the government programs, you have programs private like Hatch, and you're also talking about the embassy programs, right?
Yeah.
So each of these, I love how you touch on how each of them provide an opportunity. And at the end, it's for the entrepreneur to have a think about where you're at in your business, what do you need. One gives you more opportunity, one gives you a solid base of information, foundation, and knowledge. The other one gives mix if you're doing it on your own. That was really, really very, very informative. Thank you so much, Shivani. Zara, do you have something you want to add on over here?
Yeah, I just want to wrap up. Actually, that was a really interesting conversation. And just to finish up, let's go back to the start where you said that you had just had a kid, you taken a break, and nobody in the corporate world was letting you in. Now, I think 5 years later, you have another baby and you have expanded your business. So looking back, how do you see these? Literally, you've not only grown with the challenges, you've added more challenges to your business. So how do you see this looking back as a female entrepreneur? How do you see your strengths, coming out of it and literally maybe one day, inshallah, going global?
Thank you. So when I started Miris, I had the support system to build a solid business, to build a base, to build the purpose, come up with the policies and things like everything that a business need. Even the second baby is absolutely is a juggling time. It's not easy, to be honest. I have to send my little one to my mom's place today just to handle this session, and I have another work to be done. So usually I'm on the days that there is no meetings, I keep him with me. But on the days like this, I have to send him away. It usually goes to a daycare. But these days the daycare is closed, so I have to send it to my mom's place. So it's a bit of a juggle. It's not easy. But because I have the experience, not that I'm saying I have the experience, but I have for all these 5 years, whatever I've gained as a knowledge, as learnings, I'm able to handle and know what is necessary and what is not necessary. So based on that, I spend my time on. I have set clear guidelines. Those days I used to be a workaholic 24/7, but nowadays I've set clear guidelines to myself that I must be taking a break, because with 2 children, definitely not possible, because my elder one is in grade 3 and this little one is only 1.5 years. So it's 2 different journals to handle, 2 different personalities. So certainly not possible for me to, handle all that by myself. So it's a basement, it's a foundation that you have put for the business that is now, it's a time to reap your benefit for all that you have injected at the time, 5 years back. So little by little, we are growing, we are expanding. We also have launched in the UK. It's a separate operation that's handled by 2-member team in the UK. So I'm only shipping the products from here, but the boys, they are handling it all by themselves. So it's a way where you can also handle the time, manage your business, not just you don't need to really visit UK. You can also set a team for yourself there. Because for me, my priority was to do export. So more than, I found there's a requirement in another market. I'm not that in another market, I would say like to expand your business. Maybe I thought maybe that will be a much more better initiative to have a team there. Because here it's more organized now than what it was before. Other than some operational work that I have to hand it over with a new team by recruiting a new person in. But my biggest work, my most of the work is done, in a way that it's much more organized. So I can now work on the export market, the export potential of the business. Even the certification, it was all done by myself. My sister, who was helping me on this, because she's also from food tech background. So it's with her only we were able to build this product for this long shelf life. So she was supporting me on the for certification. And so we did it all by ourselves, getting all this done. So once that is all done, I think it's just now it's a matter of getting our product export ready. So with all that, I think the basement is important, the foundation. It doesn't matter. I realize that it doesn't matter how slow you're going, but how strong you're making or building your brand. So there can be competitors coming up, there can be businesses rising up, doing better than you, but it doesn't matter to me, any of those. For me, I believe in Miris. I believe in what I'm doing. I believe in the products that I have done, created. So I don't need to rush. I'm doing something purposeful. So it will take some time, but it has done its part. All that I've spent, the 5 years that I've spent to build this business has done its part. Now it's a time to grow and go big, go out of country and do some big work.
That's some great tips and advice. I think that'll be useful for everyone, including us, Sushma.
100%. Thanks, Shivani. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, congratulations. I was so happy for you and can't wait to hear about your export opportunities in future.
Yeah. We have a lot of news coming up. I'll probably share one by one.
Awesome.
Excited for all that.